Why is it that so many people fail in life? Self-improvement books are among the best-selling books in all the bookstores. Millions have read them, and yet the vast majority continue to live lives far below their potential, achieving far less than they're actually capable of. For years, I've studied success and failure, and I'm going to explain why people fail so you can be alert to these tendencies in yourself and others. So you can recognize the behaviors that lead to failure and make a conscious effort to avoid them. Why do people fail? Economists say that the inability to delay gratification is a primary predictor of economic failure in life. People fail because they do what is fun and easy rather than what is hard and necessary. Success and failure are more the result of habit than of anything else. Probably 90% or more of everything we do is dictated by habit, and once a habit, good or bad, is formed, we become comfortable with it. And then we strive to remain consistent with what we're familiar with, even if our habits are leading to failure. Psychologists call this tendency to become comfortable getting into our comfort zone. And even if our comfort zone is keeping us at a low level of performance, we stay in it rather than change. All change for the good in our lives begins by changing our thoughts and actions so that we form habits that assure our success and then make those habits our masters. The key is self-knowledge and self-awareness of why it is we feel and act and walk and talk. When we study human action, we find that human beings, all of us, value leisure. So given a choice between an easier or harder way, we will always choose the easier way because the sooner we get the job done, the sooner we can enjoy leisure, the sooner we can take it easy. Now, in this sense, we are all basically lazy. This is neither good nor bad as such. It is only what we do as a result of this laziness that is good or bad. All human progress in science and technology comes from the tendency for people to seek faster, easier ways to get the things that we want. So in a certain sense, laziness is a motivator to human progress. My second characteristic of human nature is that we each try to get the very most for the very least expenditure of money or effort. In this sense, then, we are all greedy. This is neither good nor bad, just basic human nature. We are greedy in that we always want the very most for the very least, and we are never satisfied, and we are continually striving to get more and more all of our lives. We are never ever really contented. The third characteristic is that each of us strives continually to improve the quality of our lives. We may not always succeed, but every action we take is an attempt to be better off than we would be without the action. In this sense, then, every human being is ambitious. So far, each of us is lazy, greedy, and ambitious. We may be ambitious for different things, and we may have more or less opportunity to realize our ambitions, but we are all ambitious. The fourth characteristic is that each person thinks, acts, feels, and experiences happiness or unhappiness by and for themselves. Everything we do, even charitable acts, we do because in our personal opinion, at that moment, it is the best thing for us as we see it. Selfishness, self-centeredness, is essential for survival and is neither good nor bad in itself. It just is a fact of human nature. A fifth characteristic of human nature is that because no one in the world can possibly know everything there is to know about even one subject, we are all acting on the basis of incomplete information every time we act. In this sense, we are all ignorant. No matter how much we learn, we must still act with some uncertainty, some ignorance of the facts, often with great ignorance, sometimes complete ignorance. Finally, as human beings, we have an ego. We think very highly of ourselves, as every study shows. We consider ourselves to be superior to others in many ways, in terms of intelligence, personality, appearance, leadership ability, and so on. Another way to put this is that we are all vain. This is neither good nor bad, just a normal facet of human nature. We all want basically the same things, in this order of priority, although we want them with different degrees of intensity and we settle for different levels of achievement in each of these areas. First of all, security. Security is number one. This is our basic need, the survival instinct. Security of life, limb, physical security, economic security, emotional security. We value security very, very highly. Any threat to our security in any area brings an immediate reaction to protect and defend. Lack of security makes us angry, fearful, and defensive. The second thing that we want is comfort. And this is what we go for once we've achieved what is to us an acceptable level of security. We seek comfort, especially physical comfort. We pay an enormous amount and work very hard to gain the comforts that we desire. The third thing, once we have enough comfort and security, we want to relax. We want to take time off, we want leisure, and we want to put up our feet. Leisure is a valued good, and we work very hard and pay dearly for it. Holidays are leisure, golf is leisure, tennis is leisure. These are the leisure time activities in our societies. They consume hundreds of billions of dollars. Remember, we are all basically lazy. We like leisure, and we will pay very highly for it. Number 4 is love. We seek the affection and the love of others. This is something we desire so intensely that we will even die for it. Each of us needs to be loved to feel fully human, and we strive for it all our lives. The 5th thing that we all want is respect. We need to be recognized and respected by others outside our family group. Because we are basically vain, we seek the praise and appreciation of other people. We will make great efforts to earn and keep the goodwill and respect of others toward us. And finally, the 6th thing that we want is fulfillment. Each of us has a deep inner craving for a sense of meaning and purpose in life. And here is the key point. The basic law of human nature is that people always tend to seek the fastest and easiest way to get the things they want, and usually to get the things they want right now. I call this the expediency factor or the E factor, and it explains why people succeed and why they fail. Families, corporations, organizations, and nations succeed and fail because of the unwillingness to delay gratification, as we spoke about earlier. The vast majority of people immediately act to get the things they want now, the fastest and easiest way, even if the long-term consequences of their actions will be underachievement and failure. Here are some common examples with which we're all familiar. A young man drops out of high school to take a job to buy a car to impress the girls. That's the expedient thing to do, and the long-term price is a lifetime of low wages and frustrating work. This is called short-term gain for long-term pain. Unions strike for higher than market wages at the long-term price of permanently crippling the industry and causing permanent unemployment for their members. A perfect example is Chrysler Corporation, which almost went bankrupt because of outsized wage settlements in previous years. Government employees increase their budgets and staff to inflate their salaries at the long-term price of huge government deficits, inflation, and economic recession. I'm convinced that most of our economic problems in society come from expecting people in government to act in our best interests when they're put into office. When the entire governmental system says that the bigger your area of responsibility, the higher your budget, the greater the number of staff you have, the more you get paid. So when push comes to shove, the government servant, by basic human nature, will opt to increase the size of his department in order to increase the size of his rewards. The pull of the E factor is very strong. It causes the vast majority of men and women to indulge themselves at whim, to ignore the secondary long-term consequences of their actions, and by refusing to delay gratification, to engage in short-term pain for long-term gain. They condemn themselves to lives of frustration and disappointment. The E factor explains most failure in adult life. Only those rare few men and women, less than 5% in each generation, who consciously master themselves and resist the gravitational pull of the E factor, ever really succeed in the long term. The one human quality that must be developed for success is self-discipline. The willpower to force yourself to do what you know you should do when you should do it, whether you like it or not, whether you feel like it or not. A famous study spanning 12 years concluded that successful people are simply those who make a habit of doing what unsuccessful people don't like to do. And what are the things that unsuccessful people don't like to do? They're the same things that successful people don't like to do, but successful people do it because they know that that is the price of success. It has been said that hard work, persistence, and focusing on clear specific goals are the keys to success. That's true, but these are merely the outer expressions of self-discipline in action. Your key to success in life is to resolve to do what you know you should do, what other successful, self-disciplined people do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. True self-esteem, the foundation quality of your success, comes from mastering yourself, resisting the temptation to take the fastest and easiest way, sticking to what you know to be right, until you win through. This is the psychology, the mindset of success. Self-esteem requires self-discipline, and self-discipline builds self-esteem. Well, what have we learned? The first thing that we've learned, number 1, is that failure is as predictable as success. You must be aware of what failures do and don't do it. And since the great majority of men and women are going nowhere with their lives, you must be very careful to observe in your environment people who are going nowhere and don't do what they do. Don't read what failures read. Don't watch what failures watch on television. Don't spend your time the way failures spend their time. Number 2, success and failure are more the result of your habits than anything else. You must develop success habits and make them your masters. And you must learn those success habits from other successful people whose achievements you admire. Number 3, remember, and this is the key to understanding economics, it is the key to understanding marketing, it's the key to understanding why things go wrong in our society even with the best of intentions, and it is that everyone is naturally, that means by nature, lazy, greedy, ambitious, selfish, ignorant, and vain. Now, this is neither good nor bad, it's just a fact of life. It is only the way people demonstrate these qualities that makes them either good or bad. It is always the actions, not the qualities themselves. We know also, number 4, that everyone wants the same things. You and I, we all want the same things, though often with different degrees of intensity. We all seek security, comfort, leisure, love, respect, and fulfillment. Number 5, the natural human tendency is to seek the fastest and easiest way to get the things we want right now, with little or no concern for the long-term consequences of our actions. And the tendency to seek the fastest and easiest way almost invariably leads us to engage in actions that cause us to fail in the long term. Number 6, the ability to discipline yourself to delay gratification in the short term in order to enjoy greater rewards in the long term is the indispensable prerequisite for success. And finally, number 7, when you develop the habit of self-discipline, you free yourself from the E factor. With self-discipline come the feelings of self-esteem, self-confidence, pride, and satisfaction that are the great treasures of the human experience. And one more point, one of the most important things I've ever learned, a philosophic point if you like, your values, your true beliefs, are always expressed and only expressed in your actions. It is not what you say and it is not what you intend but what you do that signifies what you really believe. If you engage in the actions of successful people, if you practice the same principles and live by the same rules, you will eventually come to be exactly like them in your beliefs. We will look at the 10 vital principles of success, achievement, and peak performance. Living by these 10 principles will enable you to accomplish anything you really want in life.